Okay, welcome to Beau Hannam guitars and ukuleles and whatever people order. So I'm just going to put some braces on this tenny uke top, and I thought I would show you how I go about it. Okay. So a 1-inch carbon fibre plate. Then I use a dummy bridge, which is 4 inches long by 3/4 of an inch wide. And then this is a center brace. The only thing I did off camera was I radiused the bottom of it. This space, on my 28-foot radius dish, which is what my tops are. So and the backs are 15 foot. I don't know why I wrote inches there. So there's not heaps of difference between those two, but so that's the bottom. This is going to be the front. What I usually do is just chop a little, notch in the front, so I know which direction this is going in. And then I just sand that a little bit. So one thing I do that's a little bit tricky on the center line, or the center brace, is I'm gonna just take a little bit more off this. So the center line's here, and this top's straight grained. So what I do is so this brace line, or the edge of the brace, isn't running parallel to a grain line. I skew it just a little bit, exaggerated this much. But you just want the middle of the brace to be kind of evenly over the center of the center, and that's going to make sense in a second. So I'll just mark this, and then mark just the brace ends where it is. Okay, so that's a little bit wrong. Let's see how that is too far over this way. So about right. Normally I get it like first or second go. So the center line's here, and now that is skewed a little bit. And it's, so the important thing is, well, the reason why I center it here is because this is where the bridge pins or the strings are going to go. So there's there's going to be a string here, string there, and a string there, and I use gemstones to make that, to fix the string ends to the bridge. So I use a 44mm string spacing, and so that's where the strings are going to come through. So it's important that this brace be in the middle of these two strings that it comes through here. Otherwise the gemstones won't fit and they will knock up against this brace. And I like to have the center brace a little bit thicker than the rest, just because I assume it's copying the most torque from the strings. This is about 4.5 mils wide. And I might give that, well, I will give that this side a stroke with the plane, so you can, so it'll be a little bit thinner. So the other, show you how I do the other two. So this is where the bridge is going to be. Lead pencil doesn't show up very well, sorry about that. So the, actually maybe I'll do that just for the video. So the bridge end is going to be here, and I have the brace a little bit on the inside. This little contraption and trim that brace down. So the other thing I'm going to check for is, because this is a little bit skewed here, if this was totally at a right angle, there'd be a bit of a gap on this side, so I'm just going to sand a bit of an angle into that. And now this will fit perfectly. Whereas before, if it was a straight end, it would be a bit gappy like that one is. So I'll just quickly do the third one, and then I'll show you a really good time-saving tip. Again, this is going to be sanded a little bit. Just doing it kind of roughly. So this is going to be there. So the next thing is I'm going to show you my little jig for fitting this brace over this carbon fibre patch. First I'll just give this a quick stroke. So just one makes that a bit nicer. Sometimes I make the lower area a little bit thinner. You sort of, with braces, you know, there's lots of things braces do, but just in regard to the stiffness and telegraphing, so you can either have a really wide low brace, and that is good if you don't want the brace to telegraph through to the top, which you see on a lot of classical guitars and you know, thinly built instruments. And you get telegraphing more if you use a thin high brace. So a thin high brace, you can have a thin high brace and a wide low brace, and they have the same stiffness, but you get more stiff if it's higher. But you know, if you've got a really thin, really high brace, you'll probably get telegraphing if you've got a pretty thin top. So you know, just some brace considerations. But this is what I wanted to show you. So I position my middle brace, or whatever brace I'm working on, and I just mark just about a mil in or something, which is about a 30-second in from, or out from the carbon fibre. And I'm just gonna make that super clear, which you'll see why. And remember, this middle one is the one that I radiused already, and that it's important to have that radiused already. So this is what I do, or how I get a perfect fit first time over this 18 thou carbon fibre brace or bridge patch. I use this thing, which is just, it's 2 Harbour Freight lamb trimmers. This is for rounding over my solid linings, but this is just got a 1/4 inch up or down cut spiral bit, and I just set it to be perfect to cut a 18th thou cut, and it's it's going to be hard to see this, but this is going to cut perfectly. So I'll just set this up here. I'll turn down the noise. And for this you have to kind of, my face is going to be down here flush, and I'm wearing eye protection and ear protection. Okay, so that's cut this really nicely. So I just cleaned up this brace, and I just used a scalpel to get rid of the fuzzies. Then I used this Stuart McDonald nut file, which has got a fine serrated edge here. Not serrated, a fine file here, and then a coarser file here. And I find that to be really useful for just cleaning up such faces. And then you can really see that it does a perfect job once you hone in on the depth of the router bit. I just push this down on both sides. There's just no gap. There's no gap like on the top or on the actual carbon fiber bridge plate, which is makes for a nice match. So that's excellent. And there's no light coming through here. Yeah. So if I do that, you can see a bit of light, but then close it up. So it's just absolutely perfect. So once you dial in the depth of this, then it's fine. Dialing in the depth probably takes about as long as doing one of these by hand, and I used to do it by marking this with a pencil and then slicing into this and then either chiseling it away or filing it away. The other thing you can do in your vise is you clamp this. Hang on, let me kind of make a fake vise here. Pretend this is a vise. Yeah. doing stuff while you're filming just is harder. I've decided. So pretend this is your vice jaws. And this is just an offcut of whatever your bridge plate material is. So you put this on there, and then you make this flush, and then you can file this down to the top of this sacrificial bit. Sorry, I didn't explain that correctly. You make this flush, so the uncut part of the brace flush with the top of this. Then you take this away, and then you file this area down to the top of here, which would be metal of the vise. And that's a pretty good way. But you know, it's just much easier to do. Make one of these. All my router tables are knocked down, so I'm not, you know, they're all dedicated things. If I have something that I need to put in here, I can put a third lamb trimmer in here. You just need a small router for doing such a tiny cut. Yeah, I think that's all I can reveal to you. It just makes it so much easier. Once you dial it in, perfect, every time. If you like such videos, please subscribe to me. I try and, you know, make as many videos as I can. If you want me to show you something or demonstrate something, just let me know, and I'll get around to it. Bye. Thank you.